So in today's student spotlight interview, I'm talking to Liam. And Liam is a student who joined our program at zero. So he'd never run a business before. He was still working a 9 to 5 job. And when he joined our program, for the first 3 months of being in our program, he actually didn't really do much with it. And it was his girlfriend, he tells this story in the interview, you'll learn, who encouraged him and said, Liam, you got to go all in on this. And when he realized that that's what he had to do, he went all in, and within 3 short months, he's created a business that now does anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 a year. And his niche and what he does for people is he helps people quit alcohol. So we helped him build a high ticket sort of a program, helped him design it, taught him sales, showed him how to prospect and actually get clients using content strategies on social media. And now he's killing it. And he's got the goal of doing anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 a month this year. So it's a really inspiring interview for those of you who are looking to, increase your income and do it in an impactful way that really serves other people, and while still maintaining your own personal freedom. And Liam's created all these things for himself thanks to our help. And if you want to learn more about our help, you can check out, we've got some resource docs in the description. You can also book a call with our coaching team and just see if this is something you want to give a shot to. But whether you do that or not, I want you to enjoy this interview with our student Liam, because he's going to detail his story of going from completely zero to now building his dream business with room to scale, more than room to scale, to a ridiculously profitable and luxurious income, doing something he loves doing for other people, which is helping quit alcohol. So hopefully you can enjoy this interview. If you do, smash the like button, subscribe for plenty more content like this, and as well, leave a positive comment and let's celebrate Liam's success together. Because guys, I gotta tell you, I'm cool and all, and my content's cool and all, but really why I do it is I want to give other people the same gift that I was given when my mentor came into my life and showed me how to succeed as a consultant. And that first year at 19 years old, I did $400,000, and this is in a bunch of different niches that I loved serving in, and I realized just how powerful this is. And when other people started asking me how to do it, I started sharing my secrets, and they started succeeding as well. So I decided, let's just follow this. And now today we've got clients like Liam who are just super inspiring. So hopefully you can enjoy this interview, take some key ideas away from it, and let me know what you think in the comments. And without further ado, welcome to the channel, Liam. All right, Liam, welcome, dude. Welcome to the channel.
No, thank you very much. Honestly, I'm so excited to be on it. To be honest,
Yeah, we were talking.
it's something I've.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, mate. It's something I've been watching you for so long, and it's like it's always been one of my goals. Weirdly, I've obviously got deeper goals, but like that's just been like a goal to get on here. So yeah, it's just great to be here.
Absolutely, dude. Well, it's a pleasure, man. The honor is in our students too. We just attract some of the coolest people, yourself included, where you know you follow the script, man. You go through the process, and we were talking just before the interview kicked off of how much of a personal transformation it's been. So I'm gonna kind of let you take the ball. I don't want to talk for you. What's your experience been like? Tell us about kind of the more measurables, the revenue and the sales and whatever, and then maybe the more immeasurables and kind of the overall experience of how things have been since you've joined.
Yeah, absolutely. So since I joined at scratch, absolutely zero.
Mm.
In income. And to kind of fast forward, I'll talk about the transformation, but I signed 3 clients in the month of April. And, to close and to get 3 people starting in that 1 month, which totaled 6K for me, was just absolutely amazing.
Total, so it totaled 6K with 3 clients.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
Phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal.
So, yeah.
I've seen you work
Yeah.
too, man. Like, the coaches and I, particularly Anthony and I, have really seen yourself showing up consistent. So it's well earned. And you're just getting started too, man. I feel like I'm catching you early. You've got a really neat niche, and what you do for people is just so amazing. So I hate to interrupt you though. Keep going, please.
That's all good. So, yeah. And again, it's just to go from zero, obviously coming in with absolutely nothing. And again, I'll kind of maybe talk about this more in depth later, but it's, what I'd done last month was the fruits of what I had been doing for 3 or 4 months. It's just this whole process is ingrained in me: consistency, 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 every single day. It's not that you need to work 14 hours a day, and then it's more like you're better actually working a smaller amount just consistently. Again, I want to get to a point where I'm doing that, but yeah, it's just consistent small inputs over time, man. Like, I've seen all the graphs of exponential growth, but until you really hit that point where things start growing, like when you see it in yourself, the evidence changes your beliefs, changes your actions. Like to see that whole loop come round is just absolutely amazing, man. It really is, and it's a testament to your program and to Anthony as well, who's an amazing guy.
Yeah, he's there for a reason. So, there's so much to talk about, dude. There's so much to talk about. Um, let's talk a little bit about kind of let's ride a little bit of the emotional high for a second. How does it really feel that less than it was you joined about what 5 months ago, 4 months ago? I'm correct? When?
Yeah, so I actually joined in about, I think it was either November, might have been.
Mm,
But at this point, I was in a full-time job,
mm,
and I was kind of splitting my focus
yeah.
really. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with you on one of your calls. I also had a conversation with my girlfriend. Like God bless her, she was like, you need to go all in. Like
Wow.
this is what you need to do. This is what you want to do.
Wow.
So after talking to you and her, I was just like, you know what, let's go for it. So really, I've been doing this full, like I went all in about 3 months ago. Before that, I was just doing dribs and drabs because I was getting more responsibility in my work as well. I
Yeah.
was kind of on the verge of like promotions in my work,
Mm,
and I don't know what it was. I was kind of in amongst that, and I'd lost sight of what I wanted. And
mm,
again, she reminded me of that, and so did you. So
mm.
yeah, really, really, I've been in for longer, but it's 3 months of
I
hitting this
understand
hard.
that. I get it. It's like, okay, the official start date was then, but then like this life circumstance changed, and it's like now I'm actually all
Yeah.
in. Totally get it, dude. Yeah,
Hmm.
I kind of. It's funny, man. I've been like doing entrepreneurship for like 7 years, but it was only when the family
Yeah.
house fire and like I like really had to figure something. Like that's when I clicked in, and I'm like, all right, I got to do this.
Hmm.
So completely understand, man. So this past 3 months, then, um, when you first made that decision, I'm going all in. How did that feel? Is my question.
I think okay, so it was scary before that I made that decision. It was scary, right? And I think a choice like that, it's always going to have a little bit of emotion behind it.
Mm-hmm.
But after again talking to my girlfriend, her telling me like you need to do this, talking to you, I
Now
knew that
that's
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 what
wife
was
material, bro.
necessary.
Like not to say that's wife material. That's why. Just
Oh,
saying.
she definitely is.
Just
She is,
saying.
man. 100%.
Yeah,
No, no, she
that's
100%
some of
is.
the earlier green flags that I got from my now wife is very similar. She's like, babe, like you wouldn't be happy if you did anything else. Like just go all in on it. I'm like, okay. All right.
That's
Yeah, it's very good.
exactly what
Very
happened,
good.
man. Exactly what happened. And
Yeah.
I was scared, but when I made the choice, I wasn't because I knew it was necessary.
Mm,
Like I knew, like this is like what am I more scared of making this jump or staying where I am and
mm,
not being fulfilled? Like there, you've got to weigh that up. What's going to happen if I don't take this leap? And I was much more scared of that when I thought about it. So that's again, my girlfriend talking to you, and just that when I've thought of it that way, that's what really just drove me to do it. So I was full of excitement when I realised that when I looked at it that way, it was just pure excitement.
yeah. There's only one way to win, man. It's when you burn the boats. And I think a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people don't they blame their circumstances, but once they let go of those circumstances, they realize the power's been in their hands the whole time to make whatever they want to make. And I bet I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine right now you're feeling pretty empowered. It's like, okay, 3 months after I made that decision,
Yeah.
like here we are, 6 grand in sales. And I don't even outside of the intro that I'll record probably after this call, I don't think you even said what your niche is. Tell people what you do for people. I think this is the neatest thing. I think it's so cool.
Uh, so I help entrepreneurs and professionals quit alcohol,
Mm.
and that is so. Here, I'll give you a little bit of context to that actually.
Yeah, please.
I was
Yeah.
in one of your first. I was in one of your first courses,
Mm.
and I done marketing for e-commerce companies.
Hmm.
Okay, I made that decision, and again, there's nothing wrong with that's a great niche, but I wasn't really. I was in it for money. I was in it for ego at the time, really,
Yeah.
and I was a massive binge drinker. massive binge drinker. Just the culture, just the way, a lot of people I was with, the sales team I used to work with, a lot of binge drinking. So it could be every weekend, every 2 weekends, I would be out from Friday to Sunday,
Yeah.
non-stop, like binge drinking.
Jeez, man.
And I know it's looking back at it now, it's again, I don't know how I even done it. And again, I had this marketing company which was doing okay, but I wasn't in it for the right reasons. And through kind of a personal, like moral kind of stance, I stopped it. And it was because I couldn't have kept that going, man. Like maybe I could have signed clients, but I wouldn't be able to keep them. I wouldn't be able to grow. It was hurting, relationships in my personal life. It was obviously my career slash business, my health. Another thing, I've had a few tumbles when I've been drunk and woke up in the hospital. So it's just coming up on 2 years now since I last had a drop of alcohol. And I need to share this message with people. Like it's my mission. Because if I can help people through the transformation I've been on, then honestly, like that's the most fulfilling feeling you can have in life. And I didn't think I could make a business out of this, but it wasn't until like watching your stuff. It's like we've all got transformations that we've been through. It doesn't matter, different areas, obviously, but we've all got transformations that we can help people get through, and for me, like quitting alcohol's completely changed my life.
Mm.
Completely. And I need to spread that message. Like it's my mission, man, to be honest.
That's why I love this business model, man. It's the ultimate business model. Like income, you've got once you get things off the ground too, you've got a good sense of security with the, inbound prospects. You have quite a bit of freedom. And especially as you level up and maybe you move into more scaled group consulting, you can manage 30, 40 clients at a time versus right now maybe 10 to 15 at quality.
Yeah.
You get freedom, you have impact, man, deep impact. And it's so funny what you're saying right now, Liam. Like I remember you talk about passing down a transformation. I remember the same transformation, bro. I remember when I had my first $10,000 month, and you'll crack it, dude. I went to a coffee shop and I wrote down, well, that was kind of easy in my journal. I'm like, I had no idea. Like I was doing so many things wrong and it just wasn't that hard. And this is back when I was doing I had like four different niches. I was doing the photography, it's helping photographers. I also had like a funnel thing that I did for people, and I just had a bunch of different stuff. So I was really unfocused, but I just hustled it out. And if I'd had one niche, I would have done 25 grand that month. Little did I know at the time. So yeah, dude,
Yeah.
you get the freedom of it, you get the income, and for me, that sense of impact, like what we're doing right here, right now, really fulfills me, dude. Like it's like, all right, you get it, and I just to give you some like public coaching, even though some people are watching, just stay this path, man. Keep your focus on the magic three. Keep setting meetings, keep conducting great meetings and making sales with that conviction that you have on this call right now, and then keep getting your clients great results. And the feedback loop of doing that over 3 years, man, there's a reason why in my company we're looking at $500 to $700,000 a month. It's not that I'm special. It's that the process works. It's that to the degree that you
Yeah.
can roll people through a system and get them an outcome that they want, and that your numbers of that whole system. So yeah, man. So let's talk a little bit about kind of what the program specifically has been. What did you take away from this investment that led to this result? What would, if you had to boil it down to a few key ideas or things, and sometimes when I ask that question, there's a lot. Sometimes it's like one big thing. What would you say for yourself, kind of like the main, like, all right, if I got anything, I got this from the consulting blueprint?
Yeah, so from an overall point of view, there's everything I need to be successful in here, right? There's, as you say, there's tactics, there's all that sort of stuff in there, right? It all works, and there's no excuse for me not to be successful with the stuff that's in here. But what I would say is, and this is going back to my personal transformation, it's the consistency that's been drilled into me. It's show up, hit your minimum standards for the day, and just make that like part of who you are. And that to me is from 3 months ago to now, that's the biggest change in me. And it's not, it's gradually getting higher. The standards are gradually getting higher. And that, as I was saying at the start of the call, that's to me, looking back on that to who I was back then, it's just amazing that I can, no matter how I'm feeling, I can show up, send the messages, make my content, get those activities done, no matter what day it is, no matter what's happened, no matter how I feel. Look, that's ingrained in me. So I think like long periods of consistency, sorry, is what I feel I have taken like more than anything else, to be honest, just personally. I would also, another thing is celebrating small wins. I think this is one thing that, with on a call with Anthony, he's ingrained this in my head so much that it doesn't matter what you do. It's like sending the first message. You should have a little moment to yourself. If you're out there and you're watching this and you've not sent a message yet, get the message done, even if it's just one. It doesn't matter. Like celebrate those small, because if you don't celebrate the small wins, what's it for?
Yeah.
You need that time of reflection. So consistency and celebrating the smaller things that happen is just, it's made me more grateful, and it's just made me a stronger willed person as well.
It's beautiful, man. There's that quote, we underestimate what we can do in a year and overestimate what we can do in a day.
Yeah.
Love that quote. Because it's all about the minimum that you do every day. That's really your standards. Because it is a conversation of standards. It's not a conversation of goals. It's not a conversation of wants. It's a conversation of standards. What are you willing to do at minimum every day compounded? You're going to get the results of your baseline activity compounded over about a year. And so like you said, man, and I love that. And it's really cool to hear, because it's like, I think people, they do overcomplicate it. They make it about more than it needs to be. Get a clear niche, build an offer you're excited about, and do the work consistently. And don't judge the process until about 6 to 12 months in, and just see where you get. And I haven't seen a single student, man. I haven't seen a single student, Liam, not one, in the program of having 600 people or so go through this total now, where when they are deeply convicted and they're like you said, 3 months ago, you went all in. So when they truly all in, like they quit the other things, they're financially all in. This is all they're doing. I haven't seen a single student that hasn't succeeded when they do these things. They go all in, they get consistent, and they come to terms with where they are now. They stop comparing, they stop looking left and right. This guy joined CB 3 months after I did. Why are they? None of that. Just, this is where I am, and this is what I'm doing today. So they're all consistent in the daily small things. The third thing is they know their numbers. So they're keeping track of their activities over time. And then the final thing is they really do impact their clients. If you have those 4 things, I haven't seen a single student, like literally no exceptions, if they do those 4 things every time, they reach where you're at and much farther too. I feel like I'm catching you a little early. I was debating. I'm like, I know you're going to keep growing. Like, do I want to do the interview now, or do I want to do it like 3 months from now when you're doing like 20, 30 a month? You know what I mean? But I was like, I'll catch him now, because I think we just came out of a good first month, and like, I know how special that is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
man.
What a feeling.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's just, it is, man. It's just, and this is the other thing as well. Like, it's the 3 months of work's brought me here. It's not, again, context matters and all these things. And you were talking about comparison there as well. Starting from scratch, nobody should be disheartened if nothing happens for 3 months. Like, that's you building. For example, 2 of the people I signed last month were people who have like been friends with on like social media for 2 months now. So it's took them a little while to warm up, but you need to realize that that's how this works. But yeah, man, it's just what a feeling. And yeah, that quote about overestimating what you can do in a day and underestimating a year. There's nothing better than that, really.
Yeah, it's so true. I think I heard and you were really wise to say, like, what happened in May was really a byproduct of the decision I made 3 months ago, and then the actions every day leading up to. There's a really cool interview with Jeff Bezos of Amazon, obviously, and he's talking about how they do these quarterly reviews for their investors, and often they'll have a good quarter in the company, and their investors are like, "Oh, you did something right this quarter," and his response is, "Oh, I love this response." It's always like, "No, this quarter was baked 4 years ago. Like, we didn't do anything special this quarter. We've been planting seeds, one little seed at a time, for a decade, and we're just now
Mhm.
seeing the fruits of it." And so I think, Liam, if I were to just speak into you a little bit, like, dude, just serve your clients, man. Like, it really help them understand the false beliefs that are getting in the way of their recovery, the daily action items that they need to commit to, make it ridiculously clear what the process of overcoming this looks like, and care. Like, people know when you
Mhm.
care, you know what I mean? And make it clear and pour into them and call them out on their BS too. Like, this is a cool thing about
Yeah.
our model. Like, they've paid you. You're in charge. So you can do that.
Yeah.
I think I might remember the group call too where I talked about like people who have the job and like, guys, I think I might remember the call where we had that might have inspired you to quit. I vaguely remember us doing something like that a minute back. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, and the client resulting client satisfaction. I mean, it'll be another ball game, Liam, like 3 to 6 months out. Once you've got, 3 to 6 months might not even be a long enough recovery window for it to really matter. Maybe you just maybe recovered for a year. And that's a seed that
Mhm.
you're getting right now on every single one-on-one call and as well every sales call. Like, people don't think, they don't understand that when you're selling, you're serving somebody. You're getting them to do something that they need to
Yeah.
do themselves. And so from the first moment where you're going back and forth with somebody over socials to that final moment where they do for you what you're doing for us right now, it's like it's just
Yeah.
serving, serving, serving. And that's the feedback loop that this business hinges on. And so, yeah, dude, and I think the cool thing, you said such a cool thing about moving from a niche where it was all about the money to moving into a niche where you're just really excited to serve. I've seen the
Yeah.
exact same thing, dude. I really do, and I see entrepreneurs burn out because they are in a niche that is mostly just the money. And that works for about 2 years, I've found, maybe. And then they're like, "What am I doing with all this money? Like, I'm spending all this time. What do I need all this money for? Like, let's find something that I really can pour my heart into, my soul into, and that makes the money." And it's really cool
Yeah.
that you found that this early on, man. It's really cool. What does it feel like to be
Yeah.
working
And
with your clients? That's a good question.
oh,
I feel
sorry, what
like,
was that?
what does it feel like to be working with your clients? Like, how is it sitting on those calls and be like, I sold you and like I'm helping you? And what does it feel like? Do you feel pressure? Do you feel like you know what you got to do? What does that feel like?
No, I don't feel pressure because I know they're committed as well. You
Mm,
know, like they're committed to me. Like the expectation calls you have, like, here's what I expect from you. Here's what do you expect from me? There's
mm,
clear expectations. There's a clear path to success. As long, and as you said, I think an important thing as well is the detachment. I can look at someone's situation now and not be afraid to tell them what they need to hear, right? And I think that's why I don't feel as much pressure. I think before I would have been a little bit more nervous doing that. But again, that's selfish for me, not telling someone bluntly. Because, and again, I think that skills took the pressure off me because I am a bit more detached and I can look and say, no, come on, what you're doing is wrong there. You know it's wrong. So no, that's easy to me now because I know the transformation they're going to go through because I've been through it myself. So I know what they can get at the end. So I'm not afraid to tell them what they need to hear.
mm,
And again, they've got a clear path to success. So following all that, it's not so much pressure. And again, they're all committed.
mm.
So yeah, it's good. I don't feel any pressure doing that at all.
It's awesome. That's really good. And that's because I think it's because the way that you sell, is like it's like, look, this is where you are right now. This is where you want to be. You've told me there's a few reasons why you can't be there on your own without my
Mm-hmm.
help. I'm extending my hand. I'm saying if you don't want to deal with these reasons anymore, let's do this. And so it's them
Yeah,
stepping into a better outcome for themselves, not you selling your deliverables and package. And I think that one
yeah,
shift, this is one thing I noticed in the internet marketing space, like people are so focused on the deliverables and like the specifics of what's included and everything. But like it's not it, man. You get them to step out of what they no longer want and into something that they do want. And if you sell right, they're basically on that first call being like, all right, what are we gonna do? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like, let's do it. What's next?
absolutely.
It's like they're so ready
Yeah,
to,
no,
yeah.
yeah, like I mean, I've fallen into that trap before with the deliverables. When I first started, I was like, is that how it works? Like in my head, it's like, oh, it's the deliverables, but it never is, and it's the same with content making. It's the outcome. It's like, yeah, but again, it took me a little while to. Again, it's obviously all the things from your course, your program are correct, but it's once you've done it and experienced the result from it, it's easy to hear someone say something, right? But as soon as you've done it and got the evidence, as I said, the evidence, beliefs, and actions, like cycle. Once you've done it and you're like, right, wow, this is actually correct.
Hmm.
Like that is just amazing, and that goes for. I know we're talking about like deliverables and stuff, but that goes for everything. Even if you're thinking that this might not be the case, just do it because you'll find out it is the case, and that's why you've got this program.
Hmm. Hmm. I love it, dude. I could sit here and talk to you for 4 hours. So let me ask you this. What's your advice for people who um were in the situation that you were in, where you got this job, not quite satisfied, you want to pick something up and build a business, something that you love. What's your advice for that individual, and what would you tell them? Because I think we're going to get a lot of people watching this interview who aren't in a similar situation. We're building a much larger audience of individuals who've never run a business before, and they don't know
Yeah.
the first thing about sales. They wouldn't even know how to collect a payment. You know what I mean? They don't know any of that. And so they're probably watching this and they're like, okay, like, probably thinking all kinds of things. They're probably thinking there's maybe something Liam had, or what about, who knows? So what would your advice be to that individual who is in that situation, who isn't quite satisfied with both the impact they're having on other humans or the income that they're bringing in? What would your advice be to that individual?
Okay, that's a great question. So I will put that question as if I'm talking to myself a year and a half ago,
Cool.
right? Because I've watched your content for so long. Okay, so I was following for so long. So, like, honestly, if I could talk to myself back then, I'd say, what are you waiting for? Right? Like, the day, the longer you take to make this decision, the longer it takes for your aspirations, your dreams to come true. Like, again, this even coming back to me quitting my job, if I'd put that off in November, when I bought this program, took that leap. I took the leap to bought the program, but I didn't take the leap to go all in. If I had done that in November, where would I be now?
Mm.
And you don't want to be, honestly, the worst feeling to me is thinking 6 months from now, if this interview pops up on your YouTube feed again, right, and you're hearing this exact same thing at that point, and you don't know where, and you haven't even took the shot, and you don't know where you're going, like you don't know where you could be. But 6 months from now, if you're in that exact same situation, then you will, like that is a regret you will have because, again, just from personal experience and seeing other results in the program, you've got to take that leap, man, and that's what I would tell myself from a year ago or so, that again, you're just going to be in the exact same situation, and you need to take the leap, man.
Yeah. It's funny how we just shoot ourselves in the foot, and uh, I find that, and even in myself, like I'm challenged with this, like there's so many people that know so much more about business than I do, and it's like if I could just humble myself and like what is it that I'm not doing that I should be doing to reach the goals that I have? There's always answers. Once it's almost like when the student's ready, the master appears a little bit. Where like
Yeah,
once I find myself in a place of genuinely like, all right, I've tried it my own way. I've tried to figure it out. I can't figure it out. What do I do now? And I start searching for answers. It's either a book or a mentor or a referral to somebody, or the latest example was actually a book. There's a book that was recommended to me that solved one of my big like leadership challenges. And it's always like once you say, all right, I've tried it all myself, that then the answer appears. But I think a lot of people stay stuck and like trying to do it themselves. But There's no such thing as a self-made man. And
No.
when I really let that sink into my heart, it's like business got so easy. Because it's like, well, the answers are everywhere. Like there's so many people that know so much more. Like, why not just make the investment and speed up the time? And then you start to see money not as like, oh, my income, gotta protect my income. It's almost like this fuel that you can use to speed your process up. And that's where you're gonna get really soon. And once we in this interview, we turn off the recording and we're gonna do a little bit of coaching. I wanted to show you like, dude, like what to do with this money to keep your business growing. Because I'd love to see you at like 10,
Yeah.
15, 20,000 a month, you know, maybe even
Mm.
30,000 a month, like this year. Um, and yeah, man, it's a difficult mindset shift for a lot of the average. I hate to say average, but that's what they are. They see money a
Mhm.
certain way. There's this matrix programming, for lack of a better term, that tells you that that's what money is just like there to pay your bills. But no, you can use it to like create a better life for yourself. Um, and that's how I see it too. When we profit 50, 100, $150,000 in a month. It's like this is fuel to both grow my business and go get people to help me. And
Yeah.
see it like that, dude. It's so hard to lose. It's so hard to lose. So yeah, man. Kind of a broad question. Any last words as we wrap up? Like, is there anything like for the viewer that's watched this long that you would pass along of any sort, whether it's advice or a key takeaway or whatever it is?
I think I'll just go back to the last point I've made and try and reiterate that because you might hear it once, but you need to hear it over and over again that you need to take that step. Like get help from someone who's done it, proven the amount of students that have done it, the community, like don't like the community is absolutely amazing. Like you need to take this step right now. Because again, if you're 6 months to a year's time, if you're thinking the same thing, you're really going to regret it. So again, I would just go back to the last point. Just get the ball rolling and just do it.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, I hope that inspires some people to actually take action. You know,
I hope so.
a lot
I
of
hope
people
so.
wait. A lot of people wait. They put it off. They put it off. They put it off, and they'll hop on a consult, and we know we can help this person. And there's an excuse, and there's people are gonna make the decision they're gonna make. But I hope that some people can be inspired to really um, make a commitment to themselves to live a better life and build a better thing with their time. Because if there's a scarce resource, man, it's time. I think there's another way of saying what you're
Yeah.
saying. You know what I mean? Like time is the scarce
Mhm.
resource.
It is.
So waiting to start a business that can give you impact and income and a sense of joy about your work like you have, dude. Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me either, but some people will wait, you know.
No,
Some
no.
people will.
I know. I've been there myself. I have been there. As I said, I'd watched you for so long before. I'd been there, and there's no like. It's just complete positive from
Mhm.
making that decision. There is nothing that is going to be worse off. It's only better. Like that is the facts.
Hmm.
And yeah, I hope if anyone watching just make the jump
I hope so, dude. I hope so. Yeah, brother, that's a
for
beautiful time.
sure.
Well, I'm happy we got to spend some time together. Thanks for being on the channel, man. And maybe we'll have you back when you scaled things up and things are further along. Oh, let's end here. What are your goals like over the next like 12 to 24 months, man? Where do you want to see this business at and kind of what's like your vision for what you're building, both in terms of like revenue and the impact you want to have and everything? Kind of help me understand where you're aiming now that you've got that initial like proof of concept, like, oh, this works, you know?
Yes, I'd say in the next year, if I could be at like 30, 40K a month revenue monthly. But for me, it's more about helping say 10 to 15 people per month quit alcohol. Like that is my goal.
Hmm.
And the money will come as a byproduct of that kind of like mission. Like that is my mission. If 10 to 15 people a month, I could be getting wins for people. They've been off alcohol for a certain amount of period or they're done with it. That's truly my goal.
It's an awesome goal, dude. It's an awesome goal. In our company, I think our main goal, we have the goal of making like 100 millionaires. It's like we're gonna keep doing
Mhm.
this until we've made 100 people who have $1 million in the bank. And as an important side note, doing something that they're actually like excited to do for people, you know. So
Yeah,
yeah, man. Well, cool, dude. Thanks for
for
spending some
sure.
time with me, man. Seriously, you're killing it. Don't don't slow down, and let's recoup 6 to 12 months from now when you're at some of your next revenue goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Liam.